Hello and good morning, friends. Today I want to tell you, how do you unstick a lid on a septic tank that just doesn't want to pop open? So I'm going to show you my tricks, my tips, and hopefully I can help you get your lid unstuck from your tank. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're working with. Alrighty, so we've gone ahead already, dug up the lid on the tank, but just as a quick recap on how to find the lid, we have our clean out right over here, right? We're going to take a probe and we'll probe out the edges. So we have one flag here for one edge, the other flag's underneath the dirt, but that's where the other edge is. And then we figure out where the back of the tank is. From there, you can just dig down right to it and you'll find a lid. Now, in our area, you'll usually see 3 lids. You'll see one lid in the front, a lid in the middle, and a lid in the back. Now, usually the lid in the front and the back are going to be roughly around 12 inches by 12 inches, and the lid in the middle will usually be 24 inches round. Sometimes you can get tanks that are a little bit older that might be a square lid, whether it be 24 by 24, 36 by 36, or somewhere in between, right? But most commonly you'll see 3 lids, 2 small ones front and back, and a big one in the middle. But the reason you're here though is the lid doesn't want to come off for you. You've already found the lid, you've dug it up, and you can't get it up. So I'm going to show you the tools that I use and some of the tricks that I have, and hopefully we can get your lid off of the tank without you breaking it. The very first thing we want to make sure we do is identify where the handle is. This particular lid's a little bit of a goofy one because it has that plug in the middle that's meant for a clean out, but it does make it a little bit more difficult to remove because your fulcrum point is going to be right where that handle's at. Because of that weird spot that the handle is, basically once you pull on it, the lid's going to do this and it's going to get stuck in the actual tank itself. So usually what I have to do is you have to put a pry bar on the other side, pull the hook on one side, and you just lift evenly between both sides and it'll just pop right off. So the hook that we use is going to be this blue hook right here. It's a TNT product. Any bent piece of rebar or something that's kind of thick will be more than enough to get underneath of that to pull it up. Now, let's just say that when you pull on it, right, it doesn't want to move. So we put our hook in, we give it a good tug, doesn't move at all, right? So the next step is to take our pry bar and our hammer, and what we're going to do is we're going to reach into one of these corners and just kind of basically wedge the pry bar in there and pop the lid off the tank. The pry bar that I use is going to be this S-Wing molding puller. Basically, it's meant for removing baseboard molding, but it works perfectly for removing lids on a septic tank. And I'm also going to use a 4-pound hammer. Now, the hammer, you'll usually want to tap the corners. So you'll tap one side here, one side there, back and forth, and that'll usually get it to loosen up a bit. Honestly, you can use any pry bar that's kind of skinny that you want. I just prefer the S-Wing one because it's got a little rubber grip, so it makes it nice and easy to hold when it's cold outside. Now, you may not be doing this in the cold or in the snow, but me, when I do it every day, that kind of matters, right? So as long as you can get some kind of skinny metal piece of something in there to kind of wedge between the tank and the lid, usually you can get it to pop off. So this one's stuck, so let me go ahead and show you what I can do to get it off. So essentially what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to wedge this into the edges of the lid just like this, and then tap down with your hammer and then just pry it up. Sometimes you'll have this happen, right, where a chunk of it breaks off. It's not the end of the world. Don't panic if that happens. Usually whenever that's going on, it's just this lid hasn't been open in quite a while, and to replace these lids is not that expensive. So you want to keep working around. If a part starts to chip away, move on to the next side that's a little bit better and see if you can get some good purchase. After doing this for a while, the lid should pop up on its own, right? Now, let's just say what happens if that doesn't happen. The next step is basically you're going to forcefully remove the lid, and that involves breaking it. Don't panic about this part, right? A paver will fit as a temporary solution until you get a chance to go to the concrete plant. At least in our area, you can get them from any concrete plant. They're about 30 bucks, 40 bucks, depending on who you buy it from. And basically all you do is call them up, tell them the measurements, and they'll have one sitting around for you because most of the concrete plants are going to be the ones who make the tanks too. So if it doesn't want to come up, I usually recommend spend about 20 minutes on it, 30 minutes maybe. If that doesn't work, the next step is to just break it off, remove it, and then go to the concrete plant, get a replacement. Like I said, in the interim, until you get a chance to get that replacement, a standard paver will be more than enough to keep that hole from letting debris and dirt and stuff fall in, right? If it's a larger lid, be careful, right? Because the larger lids are way more expensive to replace. If you break one of the big lids, like the 24-inch round ones, just go ahead and put a riser in. It's not worth buying a lid. The riser will cost basically the same amount, at least in my opinion. Doing things this way is usually how I open the lid, and hopefully it helps you get the lid open. If you enjoy this kind of content or gain any value from this video, hit that like button, hit subscribe. I have more videos posted every day, and I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.